Sometimes I have no idea what I am going to talk about, and today's one of those days. Um, I have some ideas, but I don't know how it's all going to be formulated. Um, with these Signature Bank and the Silicon Valley Bank going under, um, it's setting it appears to be setting some things in motion, a pattern, if you will. Um, you're probably wondering, why is he smiling? I had the greatest morning. There's only a few times a year that you can experience this, and some years you can't. But this particular year, we have so much snow, and we've had a thaw, pretty good thaw, and then a really cold night last night. It cleared off, and so the snow was just hard as a rock. Other than one place I fell through and kind of wrenched my knee a little bit, but it was worth it. So I'm looking out this way and I see a mountain way up there, and I literally left from the house and went right up and just walked on top of the snow with the dogs. It was, I almost felt like I was not flying, but it's been a long winter. And this just felt liberating to just be on top and smooth, and it was awesome. So even though there's all this turmoil and stuff going on in our economy, particularly in the United States, although there were banks that have been closing throughout the world, which isn't reported. The other thing that is so telling, and of course this is just my opinion on things, but the war in Ukraine with Russia, and the approach of many in the United States of, so Russia jets shot down a U.S. drone. I think it was over the Black Sea, which, what the heck are we doing over there anyway? But, so, that both Republicans and Democrats, we got to get them and show them who's boss, Russia. It's like this, there's just this intensity to embrace war. The Nord Stream pipeline, remember that? Last fall, I think it was, got sabotaged and blown up, and it's a pipeline, natural gas pipeline that goes from Russia through Germany, supplies, inexpensive fuel, and of course, Russia bad. We don't want to get anything from Russia. Well, immediately, idiots like Brennan and whatnot were like, yep, Russia did that. Like, all they had to do is turn a switch and they could have shut it off. They're not going to sabotage their own pipeline. And we already have video footage of Biden saying, hey, if Russia does this, we're going to destroy the Nord Stream pipeline. And the reporter goes, well, how would you do that? It's in Germany. And he goes, oh, we'd be able to do it. Well, then he denies, I guess my point is we're sending billions into Ukraine, corrupt, a few people are benefiting from that money. Our military's dropping, our borders are suffering, but we're going to protect, Ukraine. It's just, it's a laundering country of money. But this war just seems to continue to get more and more intense as far as our involvement. Now, if you look on a map here, you'll see, Russia, the Soviet Union, and then probably like right over in here. Yeah, sorry. It's my cool visuals, but the Middle East is just right below the eastern part of Russia and Ukraine and all that. Or excuse me, the western part of Russia. And you just go straight north and you'll run into the most populated parts of Russia, and then also Ukraine and all that. Well, you can easily see how this is getting pushed. Now we have the COVID virus being unleashed, and we're blaming China now. And that's not by mistake. I've talked about this before, but it's all in an effort, in my opinion, to continue driving Russia and China together, and then all the Middle Eastern countries that align with Russia and China, which you can see alliances being made all the time. It's crazy. And who's our only ally, really our only ally in the Middle East? I mean, you could say Saudi Arabia, but not so much anymore. Used to be, but not so much. But really, it's Israel is the United States' only real ally, and we treat them like the red-headed stepchild. We're always siding as a country with the PLO, with Hamas, with Hezbollah, with all the different organizations that really create terror in the middle in Israel. And we side with them, and anything that Israel does as a country, we go, oh, shouldn't do that, shouldn't allow these settlements, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And so what we're doing with our only ally is alienating them. So you can see how this is getting set up to everybody is being focused on wiping out Israel. You really can. China, Russia, all the Middle Eastern countries that surround Israel, and really the United States right now, really no friend of Israel in a lot of ways. I mean, it's just not there. The alliance. There's some things, you can look at, and I know some Israeli troops were being trained and whatnot, but I showed you that T-shirt I had that I got in northern Israel that I can't remember. I wish I would have had it here with me, but it basically just said, "Don't worry, America. We've got your back. We can help you." And it was the Israeli army helping the United States. So when you look at the Mediterranean and the Israeli coastline on the far eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea, and then you have the Israeli coastline, you have the valley, the Megiddo, the Armageddon Valley, that comes right from the Mediterranean and goes right into the interior of Israel. And so you can see how all this could culminate and be the biblical Ezekiel wars, or the Battle of Armageddon as well, culminating right there. It's the crossroads. It's the center. It's the Via Maris, basically the pathway that Christ spread the gospel, and now it's coming full circle where evil is coming upon Israel. And part of me, I'm so torn, because part of me is like, you know what? Let's get this party started and get this show on the road, because I want Jesus to come, and these things have to happen. The other part of me goes, you know what? We need the United States to get back to where we were just a few years ago. We all know that if a certain guy was president there'd be no war in Ukraine. There'd be no war in Ukraine. And yet we have these supposed conservatives, and especially within the church, that just hate. I don't even want to say his name because they'll just shrivel up, So I won't say Donald J. Trump, but he's not the savior. He's a man. He has all of his faults, just like the rest of us do. But I can guarantee there wouldn't be a war going on right now if he would have been the president. And why people that are supposed to be peaceable followers of Christ would want to have this conflict going on is beside me. So, but there are a lot within the church that support this leftist agenda of war, and support both sides, but particularly the left side of the government for all these things. We have a military that is more concerned about social justice, about pronouns, about protecting the alphabet group than establishing peace. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. I talked about that movie, Otto, a man named Otto. I think, I can't remember the exact name, but something like that. And I probably mentioned this already. I didn't like the movie, but the one, the message that just, boom, was the T letter of the alphabet soup. You had the young person that was in that situation, and I have to be careful. So that's the new group that gets all the sympathy, and the L and the G of the alphabet, they're all ticked off because they're not getting the attention anymore. It's just the T's that's getting the attention right now. It's so funny how these, it's like when Gideon goes up against, is it the Canaanites or Amalekites? And they all just start fighting among themselves, and they destroy themselves. And his little tiny army doesn't even have to fight. Well, that's what's happening. That they're eating their own, and that's what happens with these woke banks, because they don't even have people of experience and qualifications other than they fit the box. We have a transportation secretary that fits a box, right? This is what's being done in these woke companies and the condition of our country. Instead of just having individuals that are most qualified, regardless, it's like, no, they have to check this box, this box, this box, and this box. Then they'll be hired. Then we're a woke company, and and we see how that goes, and it's affecting everything. Medicine, you want the most woke person operating on you. It's insane. But as we continue down this road, we're getting closer and closer. So it's like I say, one part of me says, yeah. And then the other part's like, what are we doing? So I think here's the deal. When I'm thinking of just about myself, I'm saying, let's get this party started, because I'm old, and I'm, but then when I start thinking of my children and my grandchildren, then I'm thinking, we gotta make things better, So that's the turmoil. But I love prepping. I love thinking about being ready and wanting to be ready, wanting to be an asset versus a liability when it comes to, like Shackleton, when it looks hopeless and all things look like there's no way out, get down on your knees and pray for Shackleton. I want to be the Shackleton of the neighborhood, if you will. Not that I have the knowledge and skills of a ton of things, but maybe just a mental ability to go, hey, this is okay. We can figure this out. Let's do this. But on the other hand, I do not want to see loved ones and family and people in general suffer. I don't. I really don't. So that's the internal battle, right? But I do think that it is scripturally based to have this internal battle all the time of both bring it on, yet, folks, we don't need to go through this. If we just turn to Christ and turn to his doctrine, turn to his gospel, we'd be okay. This is a total side note, but it came into my head and I just have to say it. But this wokeness affects the church as well, in my opinion. So this is this one that really rattled me yesterday. So we have, look, I don't know. Okay, this is a regional thing. Most of you, I shouldn't say most of you, a lot of you that listen to this channel, and thank you for doing that. Really, it's very thoughtful of you to put up with this. But we have the Great Salt Lake here in Utah. And we've talked about the mirror image of it being like the Dead Sea and all that. Well, for the last few years, we haven't had a lot of moisture. I always like that, moisture. We haven't had water, rain, snow, whatever. I was thinking today, when I was walking on top of that snow, I was actually walking on water. It was frozen, but it was water, and I was walking right on top of it. That's probably why I felt so cool. Anyway, we have the Great Salt Lake, and there's just been this crazy, we're gonna all die because the Great Salt Lake is shrinking, which it does this, it's the accordion of lakes because it's dead. It has no outlet. And so it's all about evaporation, and if there's not a lot going in, our population has increased tremendously. So water consumption, and we got to have our golf courses. We have to have our golf courses. So, I love golf. I don't love golf. I like it. I'm not very good, but I like it. It's fun. But those seem to stay nice and green no matter how much moisture we have. But anyway, the church, this is what drove me nuts. The church announced yesterday that they gave up thousands of acre feet of water rights to help fill up the Dead Sea, the Great Salt Lake. I'm just like, I can just see the public affairs department going, oh, this will really give us some brownie points here. We need to do this. And apparently we have a little reservoir. I think it's up Parley's Canyon, Little Dale, Mountain Dale, Little Dale. And they said that it would be equivalent to Little Dale going in there. And some of you guys know this, how to figure this out. But would draining Little Dale Reservoir into the Great Salt Lake, which is the equivalent of these water shares, would it raise the Great Salt Lake any significant, would it raise it that much? I mean, it's huge basin out there. I just, so the church gets some kudos. Oh, and if you read it, you can go on KSL.com and you can read the comments on the article, and oh, this is so wonderful. Like, really? Really? Is it really going to do? So I'm thinking to myself, well, what could have been done with those water shares? Apparently they were for agriculture, and now they're going to go to fill up a dead, salty pond. I don't know. I just don't understand. I wish there was an explanation. Besides, we're giving this to the state of Utah to fill up a dead sea. I know they say that there's asbestos and not asbestos. I can't remember. Some cancer-causing agent that blows in the dust. If there's not water there, then we're all gonna carcinogens. I don't know, some kind of thing that's probably out anywhere. But I don't know. I get frustrated. I wish there were more of a, hey, we feel like this is the right thing to do, and this is the reason for it, and this is the value of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just wanting too much. I should probably have the presence to just go, you know what? Not my pig, not my farm. I'll just let it go. But for some reason, it just felt woke. It just felt woke. That's where I was going with that. Sorry, I got distracted. So, banks, military, all these things are in this woke mode, and I feel like it's also infiltrated the church. There's a guy, I'm not even going to say his name because I don't want to give him any cred. I've done videos on him before. Actually, I will. I think he goes, well, I don't think. I know he goes by Papa Osler, but he posts things, and he's really part of the Alphabet group. And he posted a picture a while back on his Facebook page, which I don't have Facebook, but Susie does, and so she showed it to me, of this T person getting baptized or having just been baptized as a woman. And the caption was just, oh, this is wonderful, this is so great. And it reminded me of a scripture. We'll end up with being in scripture, but this is in Malachi. This is in Malachi, and in the King James version, at the end of Malachi chapter 4, which is where I'm going to read from, it says the end of the prophets. It's pretty interesting. We know it's not the end of the prophets, but it's in the end of the prophets in the Old Testament times. And when we were in Israel last fall, we spent a whole day. I've mentioned this. It's just unforgettable day on the Mount of Olives. Started at the top, where Christ ascended from his apostles up to his Father. Where many, we have Matthew 24 that was given on the Mount of Olives, looking over at Jerusalem. You contemplate all those things. Well, another cool thing were the tombs of the prophets. Now, it's not exactly known for sure, but pretty strong evidence that these were tombs of prophets, and particularly Malachi, the last of the Old Testament prophet. We went inside where supposedly he was buried, his tomb, right on the Mount of Olives, looking out towards the Temple Mount. It was incredible. Malachi chapter 4, verse 1, For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Now, in the student study guide of the Old Testament on this particular, it's really good, the most current one. I don't often plug the student study guide, but that was a good one, and I highly recommend reviewing that again. I know we just finished the Old Testament, but this neither root nor branch is an interesting thing, and as we contemplate the alphabet group, it really is evident of neither root nor branch. It's the not evident. It's the it's what it produces or what it doesn't produce. It doesn't produce root or a branch. It just ends. If you really live the lifestyle of that alphabet, and especially this mutilation of young people as they go through their transition, right? It's sad. It is very, very, very sad. And this is the culmination of wickedness, in my opinion. This is the apex of it, as innocence is being destroyed and having eternal effect on that. Now look, I don't claim to know the judgment, the final judgment of anything, of any of these people and the situation. But if you look at it, just the face value of what that lifestyle is, any of those, neither root nor branch really comes to mind. That's what comes to mind. I want to go to, when it talks about the burning, I want to go to the Doctrine and Covenants, section 45. We love section 45. We have section 45. We have Matthew 24. We have the inspired version of Matthew 24 and the Pearl of Great Price, Matthew 1. And all of these really focus on what Christ was teaching on the Mount of Olives to his apostles. But I just want to read a little bit here and get another understanding of nor root nor branch and the burning of the wicked and the stubble. Okay. I'm in verse 27, or actually verse 26. Verse 26 of section 45. And in that day shall be heard of wars and rumors of wars, and the whole earth shall be in commotion, and men's hearts shall fail them. And they shall say that Christ delayeth his coming until the end of the earth. Now that's an interesting thing, because they'll say that Christ will delay his coming until the end of the earth. No, Christ is going to come before that. Okay? But you could go through and check all those things, that men's hearts failing them, and wars and rumors of wars, because of technology and information instantly, we know of wars and rumors of wars. Otherwise, you don't know about them. So this is talking about our day right now. And the love of men shall wax cold, and iniquity shall abound. Okay? The love of men shall wax cold. I think that's the alphabet. I really do. I think that's what that is. And iniquity abound. It's so disgusting. If you, I didn't watch the Oscars, but I saw some reports on it. Brendan Fraser, the Mummy series guy, which I enjoyed those. Those were entertaining. But the movie that he was in, disgusting. It's disgusting. And what it teaches and pushes. Super Bowl halftime shows, drag queen, reading time with kids, and all this just perverted, sickening stuff is the love of men shall wax cold and iniquity shall abound. Those two go hand in hand together. We are there, folks. We are there. Okay? And when the times of the Gentiles is come in, a light shall break forth among them that sit in darkness, and it shall be the fullness of my gospel. The Book of Mormon, the Restoration, the Joseph Smith being called to be the prophet of the last dispensation, in my opinion, is that happening. Okay. But they receive it, but they receive it not, for they perceive not the light, and they turn their hearts from me because of the precepts of men. So because of the traditions and really not wanting what God has to offer, but wanting what the great imitator has to offer, they turn away from it. And in that generation shall the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So that's us. That's us. The time of the Gentiles is being fulfilled. Okay. Now, fulfilled doesn't mean that it's just complete. Fulfilled is it's an ongoing thing. It's being fulfilled. It's like if you I subscribe to one thing on Amazon. And it's these little minty chews for the dogs because it's a lot less expensive than buying, they're for their breath and clean their teeth and stuff. So my subscription is being fulfilled. Well, it's continual, okay? So we have to sometimes think a little bit differently than being fulfilled means that it's done and it's never going to happen again. That's not necessarily what fulfilled means, in my opinion. Okay. Okay. And when the time of the Gentiles come in, a light shall break forth. Okay, we read that. Okay. And they received it not, for they perceived not the light, and they turned their hearts from me because of the precepts of men. Okay, we read that. And in that generation shall the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Okay. And there shall be men standing in that generation that shall not pass until they shall see an overflowing scourge, for a desolating sickness shall cover the land. Now, a lot of people, and me included, think that COVID would suffice to cover that. There are probably other things that are going to happen. But that covered the land, and it was a sickness, right? Okay. But my disciples shall stand in holy places and shall not be moved. But among the wicked, men shall lift up their voices and curse God and die. Yeah, that is definitely happened. And there shall be earthquakes also in diverse places, or different places that we never knew about. And why do we know about them now? These earthquakes. Syria, okay. So if you took, say, 150 years ago, would we know that there was, if you're living in the United States and there's an earthquake in Turkey and Syria, it would be months and months and months and months and months before you'd ever even know about it, even if you ever really found out. If you were living in, eastern Montana and out on the prairie ranching, you might not ever even know that there was an earthquake in Turkey or care to find out. You'd really have to study it. But now we just pick up our phone, we have our computers, we have our sources that we immediately get information and we know, and then we see pictures. And so when it says diverse places, it's places that we normally wouldn't know about, and we do now. So it's our time. This is our time. And there shall be earthquakes also in diverse, and many desolations. Yet men will harden their hearts against me, and they will take up the sword one against another, and they will kill one another. I think this is what's happening. And the government of the United States, the current administration, and both Republicans and Democrats are just full of this. They just want war. And a lot of it has to do with money and power and everything else. And they don't really care who dies. And now when I, the Lord, had spoken these words unto my disciples, they were troubled. He's talking about his apostles particularly, but there were disciples there on the Mount of Olives. This is where this conversation took place. And it's interesting that this is where the supposed site of Malachi, the last prophet of the Old Testament, is buried on the Mount of Olives. And I said unto them, be not troubled, for when all these things shall come to pass, ye may know that the promises which have been made unto you shall be fulfilled. So this is that inner struggle I was talking about. He's like, hey, don't be troubled. These are the signs. This is what's going to happen. So when you see it, go, yeah, we're getting close. So that's what we do. And when the light shall begin to break forth, it shall be with them like unto a parable which I show you. You look and behold the fig trees, and ye see them with your eyes, and ye say, when they begin to shoot forth, and their leaves are yet tender, that summer is now nigh at hand. So you're looking at a tree, you see that the leaves are starting to come forth, you go, hey, summer's just around the corner. We do that here in Utah. We have the 4 seasons, and we're seeing. And I just noticed we have these, I don't know, they're just the most beautiful maple trees in the fall. Canadian red maple, maybe. Anyway, I just noticed that all these little black, like bud ends have bud ends had popped off, and they're all over the sidewalks and streets because just a hint, of spring coming. So even so shall be that day when ye shall see all these things, then shall ye know, they know that the hour is nigh. So when we see all this chaos and stuff going on and wickedness, just disgusting wickedness, then we know. And it shall come to pass that he that feareth me shall be looking for the great day of the Lord to come, even for the signs of the coming of the Son of Man. So this is why we call ourselves watchers and lookers, and we're looking for it. And they shall see signs and wonders, and they shall be shown forth in the heavens above and in the earth beneath. And they shall behold blood and fire and vapors of smoke. And before the day of the Lord shall come, the sun shall be darkened, the moon turned to blood, and the stars fall from heaven. Now, we can witness all this kind of stuff. We can witness it. We can witness it through pollutions, through war, through all kinds of devastation. We have in the let me look at it here real quick. In let's see if I can find it here. I know, sorry, in Joel. We have it in Joel that, and it shall come to pass, this is Joel chapter 2, verse 28, and it shall come to pass afterwards that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, and blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. And then, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. And then we have that prophecy on October 20, 2001, October, President Hinckley said that prophecy was fulfilled. From the pulpit at conference, okay? And this was after 9/11. So we've seen these things. Now, because it was fulfilled, remember, it doesn't mean that it's all over. This is going to continue to happen until Jesus comes and reigns. Okay, it's like my subscription that I have for the Minties, for the dogs. It's fulfilled every month or so. Okay, all right. So, okay, that was a little side thing here. Okay, now I'm almost done reading this. Okay, where did I get to? Okay. And they shall behold blood fire. Okay. And the day cometh that the Lord should come, the sun shall be darkened. Okay, I read that. And the remnant shall be gathered unto this place. Now, this is interesting because I think this is referring to Jerusalem. That's just my opinion, because we'll keep reading here and I'll show you why. And then they shall look for me, and behold, I will come, and they shall see me in the clouds of heaven, clothed with power and great glory, with all the holy angels. And he that watches not for me shall be cut off. Wow. That's another reason why to be a watcher, right? We don't want to be cut off. And before the arm of the Lord shall fall, an angel shall sound his trump, and the saints that have slept shall come forth to meet me in the cloud. And I do want to, in fact, I'm going to go over to section 88 and read a little expansion on this, because this is good. And the saints, okay, so I'm in section 88, verse 96. And the saints that are upon the earth who are alive shall be quickened and caught up to meet him. That's the rapture, or the quickening, or being caught up. And they who have slept in their graves shall come forth, for their graves shall be opened, and they shall be caught up to meet him in the midst of the pillar of heaven. So that's what we just read in section 45. They are Christ, the first fruits, who shall descend with him first, and they who are on the earth and in their graves, who are first caught up to meet him. So this is going to happen. And then the destruction comes, and if we're righteous, we're going to be part of those angels that are cleaning things up. Okay? All right. Wherefore, okay, I'm back on verse 46 in section 45 now. Wherefore, if ye have slept in peace, blessed are you, for as you now behold me and know that I am, even so shall ye come unto me, and your souls shall live, and your redemption shall be perfected, and the saints shall come forth from the four quarters of the earth. Then shall the arm of the Lord fall upon the nations. So then, after that, then the burning, stubble, right? So it's almost like the ark, in a sense, where the righteous are saved, and then the earth's cleansed, right? There's a way out. Or the city of Enoch was taken prior to the earth being. So you not only had the 8 souls saved by water, you had the whole city of Enoch, a whole civilization, okay? And the arm, okay. And then shall the arm of the Lord fall upon the nations. Then shall the Lord set his foot upon the mount, this mount. So this is the Mount of Olives. So this is where I say when he says, a remnant shall be gathered unto this place, in verse 43, you can go down to 48 and say, then shall the Lord set his foot upon this mount, and it shall cleave in twain, and the earth shall tremble. So I think this all has to do with Jerusalem and Israel as a country. Tremble, reel to and fro, and the heavens shall shake, and the Lord shall utter his voice, and all the ends of the earth shall hear it. And the nations of the earth shall mourn, and they that have laughed shall see their folly. There's going to be a reckoning, folks. There is going to be a reckoning. And all of us will be justified who have stayed on that covenant path and read and studied and pondered and prayed. We're going to be, there's going to be a reckoning, and those that laughed won't be laughing anymore. So stay true, stay faithful, look out for each other. Yeah, we have to have compassion and understanding. I understand all that. Nobody's out for a witch hunt, but we also have to recognize evil for what it is. We cannot ignore it. And this wokeness is destroying us as a nation, because the wokeness always is associated with accepting evil behavior, in my opinion. So that's it. We are moving forward. We're so thankful for your support and love and everything. This is a great community. A little plug for Cardio Miracle at the end. As the seasons change, there's usually a bit of an attack on the immune system. This is just my opinion, okay? But I really make sure I have my 2 doses of Cardio Miracle. It has so many good things in it. And if you saw the video that I posted on a couple of videos ago of John, they're always tweaking and improving the ingredients as new science and new understanding comes out. So our immune systems, we want to have the energy, the vitality, the mental capability, and of course the spiritual capability to do as much as we possibly can. We're not going to, Father Time is going to take his toll, rock our bodies and steal our soul. That's from Kansas. Sorry. I love that song. Sweet Child of Innocence or something. Anyway, Father Time will take his toll, rock your body and steal your soul. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, it's not going to, I'm just saying we're going to get old, right? And that's fine. But we want to be as much of an asset as possible. And I feel like Cardio Miracle does that for me. It helps that process of staying on top of your game, staying healthy. No guarantees, but we hedge our bets, right? Especially with the physical body that just day by day, it just gets a little more worn out. But anyway, so a little plug for that. I'll put the link in the comments section if you want to get a discount on Cardio Miracle, or if you want to try it out and see if it helps you. It's good stuff. All right. God bless. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.